Hi, welcome back. I'm Chris Sikora, and I'm going to step you through Exercise 10, AutoCAD Solids 2021. Now in this exercise, we're actually going to take a look at building a very simple machined part that you see there. And from that, then we're going to take it into the CAM side of things. Now, we know computer-aided design, or CAD, is what we've been learning in this course. But let's look at the manufacturing side, computer-aided manufacturing. So we're going to take this model that we build here, and then we're going to bring it into a product called MasterCAM. And there's several different tools out there for CAM. Autodesk has their own, in fact, but this one is the one we have at the college, so this is what we end up using for the most part. Now, you can see here, when we get that part in the software, we're going to be able to program it. It's what they call it, actually programming it, to cut this out. And if we look at YouTube and type in CNC, we'll do a Haas, and you could actually see how these things work. Like right here is a CNC machine that is going to be cutting a block of, looks like aluminum. And this is a 5-axis machine. We're going to do what they call 2.5 axis, or it's kind of more like on an end of 3D, whereas 5-axis, there's a lot more movement that's available. Like you can see, that's rotating and spinning. And that's jets of coolant that are flowing down there as it drills. And see how it's peck drilling? It's going in and out, and that helps break the chips. And then here is a cutter, and as it goes around, it's removing material. So it's the opposite of 3D printing. It actually, you start with a block of material and remove the material from it. And hence is computer-aided manufacturing. Okay, so let's begin. I'm just going to pause that and go back. Now, you could find this information. I do have a temporary manual up there. You just have to go to vertanu1.com and go to the instructional manuals tab, and you'll see the Autodesk AutoCAD 3D. And it's really just a collection of notes, and it's taken from other CAD systems, and it's really just to get the dimensions, like you can see here, off of the geometry that you would create inside AutoCAD. And we're going to make it with a solid. And so let's take a look at that. I'm going to start with the new part. It's a 4x4 by 1 inch thick block. And oh, by the way, in that training guide, this is on page 93 currently. I am going to update it, so it's because that's using Inventor currently, but we could still get the geometry off of it that we need for this. So go to AutoCAD 3D, hit open, go to front, home, top, and let's go to the Home tab and go to 2D wireframe. Now, I'm not going to build the whole part for you. I'd like you to build it. At this point, you're pretty advanced. You should be able to do most of it, but I'll get you started here with the rectangle. I'm going to turn on the snap and snap right there at that first corner and type in 4 tab 4. So it's a 4x4 block. And now we could go click on top, and it should center it for us. Now the next things you're going to do is you're going to go and put in the rectangle. So in this upper left corner, click and drag out a rectangle. It should be 1.5 tab by 1.5. Enter. Now go to the circle, and we want diameter, center diameter, and down right about there, click and drag out a 1 inch, type in 1. And now go to line. And right about at that point, you're going to click and drag this across. Right about there is okay. And down here, about 3 inches or so, and then connect it. All right, hit escape. Also, we're going to draw in more diameter. So I'm going to go diameter here and radius. Oh, you know what? Actually, make sure on diameter. And click right about there. Drag this one out. The first one will be a 1/2 inch. Click and enter. Oh darn, that's a diameter. Let's just delete that. Let's And I'm going to turn off the snaps for a moment here. I think it's right about there, and this will be, we'll make the first one 0.25. And then go back to center diameter. And this next one up here will be 0.5. Now, I'm going to go ahead, and you could position these. If you go to parametric, go to auto constrain, click and drag a fence around everything. And you don't have to make a parametric. I like to make a parametric, but and then you could go to linear here and just add in the dimensions as they are in the training guide. That's 4, hit enter again. Now click down here from that point to that point, 4, enter, and then enter, let's click on this point to this point, and that's 1.5. And you can see most of them already enter the dimensions that we were looking for. Make sure you don't accidentally get that triangle. That'll be 1.5. All right, now for the triangle, as you look here, let's see, we just want to see what the offset is. Okay, we're only like 0.25 off the edge. So for the offset of that, let's go to linear, click on this point here to this point, and that will be 0.25. Let's see if it moves over. Okay, now move the whole block. Yeah, we could do that, but that's not really what we want. Control Z, and that's why it's good to lock things down. But we could actually utilize this as is, and we could put a lock down here in that corner so it won't move. And now we could go to linear, click on that point to this, and then make that 0.25. And it should move that over. Now they're both moving as though they're connected, which concerns me. I should have thought about that when I went over here. I'm going to go to show all, and apparently we might have gotten, yeah, coincident. Let's delete that. I'm just clicking on it, hitting delete. Right click, delete. All right, now we should be able to move this one over. So if we click from here to here, that should be I believe it's 0.5. Oh, it's still connected. All right, so maybe oh, there, we still have one there. Right click, delete. And now we should be able to just fillet that. Let's go to the fillet tool. Let's go home, go to fillet, and everything needs a 0.25 radius. So here to here, enter, from here to here, enter, from here to here, enter, that, enter, enter. And now these two, enter, enter. All right, and I want you to do the rest of them because, again, at this point, you're at in a pretty good place for making these things. All right, now let's go to extrude, and I'm going to select this block here, hit enter, and just drag that down 1 inch, and we could shade it now. If we go back to the shaded, shades of gray, and then we could just use the press pull. So we could go to press pull, select this face here, drag that down. This will go a 1/2 inch, enter, click that one down. Let's make that a 1/2 inch as well. And then this one, drag down 0.5. All right, now these are going to be a little different. This one's going to be 0.6, enter, and then this one is going to be 0.62. All right, now do we need the drill tips on there? No, actually, when we do the machining part in the MasterCAM, it will automatically put the 118-degree drill tip angle in the tip there. So we don't really need it on this model. It would be good to note it if you're sending it to a customer or someone who's going to do this work. All right, now that we have that done, we just save this. And I'm going to save this as E10 B in my case. You could just save as E10. I've already made one, but you hit save. All right, and you could just close it, and then what you do is you get into MasterCAM, and I'm going to actually close out of here. And now MasterCAM, by the way, is free to download for students. What you have to do, you just go over here, go to Google, and you just type in MasterCAM HLE for Home Learning Edition. Okay, and there it is. Download. Make sure it's MasterCAM. Download MasterCAM HLE, and then you'll go ahead and you could just download a copy of that. Okay, so now we want to create this. So let's go to New. No, I don't want to save. All right, I'm going to go to File. Actually, I think we just open it now that I think about it, and you just find the E10 DWG. You could go to Computer here and actually browse for it and search for it. Okay, mine's on my desktop, and I'm just going to find that E10, open, and here it is. It will bring over some of the dimensions if they're there. Yours might not look exactly like mine. Now, you don't have to hold Control when you rotate, or Shift. You just go ahead and hold the middle mouse button down, and you'll be able to rotate this. Now, what we want to do, first of all, we need to set up a machine. So there's a ton of different machines out there, hundreds, if not thousands. And so you go to Machine, and then you could select, we're going to use a mill. Those others are more advanced. We're not going to use those today. So go to Mill, and just go with Default. But this is where they would have the post processors. If you went to Manage List, you would actually hopefully find the machine that you have. Let's say it's a Haas tool room milling machine, or TM1 is what they call it. You could maybe find that, or else you have to contact Haas, or you could contact MasterCAM to get it. Sometimes you have to buy them. Sometimes they're free. Depends. All right. So, but if you go with the default, it's just a default controller, and that won't necessarily work with the specific machine. It's like selecting a printer and the right printer driver. So that's what that's all about. Okay, now over here we're going to do 2D really. I know it's like, well, but that's a 3D part, but really it's just, there's no contours in it. It's all straight at the bottom. So that's why they call it 2D or 2.5D. Let's go to Pocket. And now make sure it's set to solids. And by default, it really is pretty smart. It selects face and loop. So just select these faces under here, these three, not those two. Those two are different levels. They're going to be drilled. These are for milling purposes. So only those three. Hit the green check mark down below here. And now if you go to Tool, don't ever go with the default that they give you. You want to go to Select Library Tool and go to Filter and hit None, but then hit End Mill 1. Hit the green check, and then it gives us a very small amount of end mills to choose from. Otherwise, you got a ton of tools, and it's difficult to find things. Now, the first cut we're going to do, we're going to go in for roughing, and we want to go in fast, and that's the whole idea. You want these things done fast. So we're going to go with a 1/2 inch end mill right there, and this is a flat bottom end mill. So you'll see flat end. All right, now we go to, you can pick out a holder, but we're going to skip that right now. Go to Cut Parameters, and this is where you pick out your strategies. Now right here, stock to leave on walls, 50 thousandths it's going to leave. And so that's so when we do our finishing cut, it could come through and make a smoother cut later. All right, go to Roughing, and you'll see there's all these different strategies. And different strategies, I'm shocked at how beautiful the parts will come out depending upon what strategies people choose. And there's some very skilled guys out there, much more than I am, who know the best strategies. But we're going to go with high speed. All right, and there's some other options we're not going to go into. We're just scraping the surface of CAM here. Now there is finishing and lead in and lead out. We're going to pass that. Let's go right to coolant. And you saw that coolant blasted in there. We want it to be on flood, but they have mist and through tools. Sometimes the tools have holes in them that allow the coolant to pass through. Let's hit the green check mark, and you can see it created our strategy. Now they have you verify, because this is like an AI basically doing this, so you want to check to make sure it doesn't just ram the tool in. So tools are very expensive. You don't want to break a tool if you can help it. So let's go ahead and take a look here. The way you do that, you click on the very top here, Machine Group, and then you go over here to the Verify Selected Operation. Now, what I neglected to do here was to actually pick out a piece of stock, so it didn't know what to go with. So I'm going to cancel. Now here's what you could do. Over here on the left, in the Feature Toolpaths, you hit the little plus symbol next to Properties and find Stock Setup. I neglected to do this part, I forgot, but what's so nice, it's forgiving. Over here, you just hit All Solids, and look at it, fills in the size of our block. Okay, we're good. Now go to Tool Settings. Now you could either have the feed calculation done, like how fast is it going to cut, from the tool, because there's very strong tools. There's high-speed steel, which is your standard tool. You have to go a little slower with that sometimes, things like that, or from material or defaults. We're going to go from the material. Now let's go to, over here we have aluminum 2024. Let's go to select and pick a different one. Instead of mill current, go to mill library. And we're going to go with 6061, which is like an aircraft-based aluminum. It's strong aluminum. Okay, let's pick that. And so for a stronger aluminum, it might slow the tool cutting down a little bit. And also the feed is the feed rate at which how fast it moves along. All right, we're going to go ahead and go with that, hit the green check. You see the red around there. We're in good shape, I believe. Let's go ahead and try it again. All right, and now we can see the outlines of our sketches that were left there, and that's good because we'll be able to see what it's going to do. So let's hit, keep it near slow here, otherwise it goes way too fast. Now it's also telling us how much time it's going to take, and like 5 minutes here. Let's hit play. It's not going to take us that long to simulate it, but here you can see, remember we told it to leave a little bit of stock, 50 thousandths of stock on the wall, so you see it's not touching the outer edge there. Nor did we assign drills yet. So let's go ahead, and we can see it's looking pretty good there. It's not crashing into the model. That's a good thing. Let's go up here, and we're going to now go back, and we're going to put in a finishing cut. So pocket again, and let's pick these same ones. Now, there are a lot of tricks out there where you could reuse the same picks from before. I'm not going to show you those. I actually don't know them all. I'm pretty much not that great at it. But anyhow, let's go back to Tool. And this time, instead of a ½ inch, let's go with something a little bit more finer. So we could get in there, go to Select Library Tool. We're going to go with, because those radiuses are 0.25, so it's a ½ inch diameter tool, could get in there. But let's go with like a 3/8, a little bit smaller, 3/8 drill. Or not drill, but end mill. Hit the green check. And let's go to roughing over here, and let's choose something else. Let's go with Morph Spiral. Just have a little fun with it. Pick one. And you can see what it's going to do. And let's go to finishing. Oh, let's go back to roughing, entry motion. We're not going to change anything major there. Lead in and out. And actually cut parameters. This is going to be our finishing cut. Let's go ahead and set that to 0. Get rid of the 5. We want it right up to the size it's supposed to be. Okay. Now, it should remember our coolant settings. Yep, flood is still on. We're in good shape. Let's hit the green check, and now you can see there's more scribbles on there. That's the actual path from the center of the tool. Let's simulate it now. Click on the very top of the tree there. Go to the Verify, and let's play it again. Now, it goes through the first process. Now, this is the second one. Notice it's a bit more detailed. And watch, it should cut right up to the edges. Now, that one, we never drew in, I never drew in the sharp edges. I actually put them in as fillets, 3D fillets, so that's why it's not going up to the edges. But there you go. All right, now let's look at a drill operation. Click back over here. Under 2D, let's go to drill. All right, now, we only select one because remember they're different depths and they're different sizes. So click on the bottom edge of this. You want to go down to the floor is why I'm selecting through there. Okay, hit the green check. Now for the tool, let's go to Tool. Let's go to Select Library Tool. And it knew to go to this, but just in case it doesn't, remember, oh, that's fine. Yeah, go to Select Library Tool. Oh yeah, go to Filter and go to None. and then make sure drill is selected, just in case. I'm not sure what your setup's going to look like. Now you can see the drills. Now this is a 1/2" drill. Sometimes you want to remit, so you select a little bit smaller, but we're actually going to just go with the drill itself. So we're looking for a point, or 1/2. And so as we go down here, you see there's a lot, there's 1/4", so we're getting close. And there's 1/2. And you can actually, here, let me put the tool number up there. Tool number 162. So you could actually just scroll down till you find it. Hit the green check. And now you'll see there's stock and there's all these neat settings here. Now instead of drill counterbore, maybe we want it to break the chip. So we could select chip break and it pecks it, you might say, okay? So it breaks that chip. And because that could, if you're breaking drills, set it to that. That might help you out a little bit. All right, go to coolant and let's set it on flood and hit OK. All right, let's do one more. So back to machine group, go to drill and select the base of that and hit the green check. And now the tool. Let's go back to select library tool, and this one's a 1/4". So let's find the 1/4" here. There's an 1/8, so we're getting close. There it is, a 1/4. Tool 124. Hit the green check. And again, you could go to the parameters. It should remember our settings for the pecking and coolant. As you can see, it's still on. So we could just hit the green check here. All right, let's click on the very top here and simulate the whole process of everything. Now you could hit play. We could see the rough cut. Now here's the finishing cut. You could speed it up if it's going too slow for you. And this should cut all the way up to the edges here. Okay, beautiful. And there's the 2 drilling operations. So it actually did the drill. And if you rotate, you can see the drill tip is in there. So the 118-degree drill tip is visible there. Okay. Now, what you do at this point, sorry, bug. At this point, now you output it, and right here is G1. Now, on the HLE edition, it doesn't output it. So if you go to G1, it'll tell you it's not available. But at the college, when we start having this class in school, you'll be able to see it will output the G code, which is a program that you could then feed into your CNC machine. Now remember that post that I was talking about. When you select the machine, you'd go under there and make sure you have the proper post for your machine. Otherwise, it could do all types of things. And it's just slight variations in the language usually. And that's it. And that concludes exercise 10.